Greetings, salutations, Charlton 66, Steve here once again with a video that's long coming, and I've been trying to do a video for a while. This is like the fourth time I'm doing a video on this, and I hope it comes out well. My laptop is on its last legs. The screen I'm looking at looks very dim on this side, so hopefully the video comes up okay and it's not cloudy like it looks on my end. I hope everyone's doing well. Happy New Year. Hope everyone's New Year has started out well and everything is going okay for everybody. Now, I got a lot of stuff to show, a lot of stuff to talk about, things that are just been pending for a long time because I've accumulated a few things that I want to share. I'm not, it's not nothing to write home about. Oh, actually, there is something to write home about. Hold on. Thank you for your indulgence on this. I had to get it. I forgot to set it up before I started the video. All right, so I won't be long talking, although I will talk in between things like I always do. All right, one of the few things I'll start out with is some gifts. As I go through the stack, I'm going to come across. Well, actually, let me do this first. They put out this. From Fantagraphics, Thimble Theater, the pre-Popeye comics of E.C. Segar, how do you want to? I think it's Cigar or Segar because he put a little cigar on his signature, so that's how I'm thinking it's said, it's pronounced. But this is sensational, as you can see from the size of it. They are reprints of his work on the Sunday pages. It's such a delight, even though it's complicated to read and to show, but you can see what it's like. It's like the Sunday pages all over again, the 20s and 30s. It's got information. It's got some backstory. It's got history. It's just chock full of great strips from this time period. Highly recommended. Again, it's the size is worth it. It makes it such a delight to read. Highly recommended. I was waiting for this for a long period of time from my shop. I finally got it. Very happy to have this. So I'm getting this bad boy out of the way. I've been reading it. This takes a while because you need some space. I just get on the floor, hot cup of coffee, and read some good Sunday strips. There was a comic book that I bought when I was a kid, and I still have it. I have several copies of it. I buy it when I can because it's cheap, and it's a segue into what I'm getting ready to show you. It's Wood God, Marvel Premiere. What is this? Number 31. It's resonated with me for some reason. Bill Mantlo, Keith Giffen, Klaus Janson. Yeah. To me, it was such a great story. He bioengineered character. He popped up again a few times after this. But it's such a cool comic book. I enjoyed it. No one cares. But at the shop I work at, we talk about characters and comics and offbeat stuff. And I reiterated how much I love that character, and I talk about him when the comic book comes up in the back in a collection or something like that. We'll talk about it, and people will chuckle or whatever. But a co-worker who worked at the shop, Ian, is quite the artist. So for Christmas, he gifted me an original drawing he did for me of Wood God. I've been remiss not to show this. It's a stellar piece. He captured Wood God perfectly, man. It just, when I saw it, I was amazed. And it's funny because it's like he's never in on the conversation, kind of like he's just listening. And he got this for me. Well, actually, he drew it for me. So I thought that was really cool. Again, Wood God in all of his glory. Marvel Premiere 31. If you don't have this issue, go out and find it. It's a good read. It's cost you a few bucks, $2 or $3. It's not. You might even find the dollar bin. No one cares. Those who do care know about Wood God and do enjoy the comic book. So that was a gift for Christmas. Thank you, Ian. If you watched the video, another gift I received from another coworker: Extremities, Volume 1 and 2. I have not had to sit down and read this yet. I've been reading the um, Thimble Theater and a couple other things that I'm going to go over here in a second. But this is from a buddy of mine, Ryan, who I work with. He was also quite the artist. I've showed his stuff before on this channel, but he got me both volumes of Extremity. Let's see what I did. Another gift from a coworker. I'm going to dig it out of the pile I have here. I'm going kind of quick because it's going to be quite the long video. William Stout signed art book of his t-shirt designs. There's quite the cool stuff in here. I'm a big fan of William Stout. I have my Necron 99, the Red Rider from the Ralph Bakshi Wizards statue up here, and William Stout did the design on the box of that statue, which I was very happy. Nice Cthulhu, even though it's pronounced a different way according to H.P. Lovecraft. Some really cool. She got this for me. Thank you, Carly. Another co-worker. It's signed. I think she got this for me in San Diego. So very happy to have that in the collection. Again, all this stuff has been sitting here waiting to do this video for the 4th time. I always look at the time to make sure it hasn't stopped on me like it did before. And see, what else did I pick up? Jim Calafiore, everyone knows, what a fan who's followed my channel knows I talk about him quite often. His Ned, Lord of the Pit, Volume 2 has come off hot off the press. And signed edition. All of them from his Kickstarter, and there's the art plate that comes with it. Signed at the bottom and numbered on that to 500 pieces, and bookmarks and that kind of stuff comes with it, but it's quite good. Contact Jim on, I know he's on Instagram. I don't know if he's selling these straight out or he had to get it only through his Kickstarter campaign, but this is a very cool edition. This goes with Volume 2, which I have a sketch inside. I kicked myself for not getting a sketch inside of this one. I don't know why I did it. Usually I do. Anytime I can get artwork from him, I'm always up there in line. I don't know why I didn't get it on this volume. See some other stuff, some random things, Alter Ego. Behind, I got some more Alter Egos I'll probably show in a minute. But this is the jungle issue, which I'm sure Jambo Comics was chomping at the bit to get this issue. I'm sure he's enjoying this. And another great publication, back issue. This is, I was kind of torn on this one. It's just such a great, I mean, you can't go wrong with it. I'm going to move this over here in case that screen's messing up. It's such a great cover. But I know, again, Back Issue has done Charlton coverage before, and they do great stuff. Never, even stuff I'm not interested in that much, like the Legion of Superheroes. That's the only thing I could think of. I'm not really a big fan of the Legion or Batman. I'm Batmaned out. Sorry, folks. I was hoping to see Charlton in this. This issue's haunted. I mean, they had a comic book called Haunted. It could have been great to see some Charlton coverage in this horror issue, especially with Tom Sutton and others, Pete Morisi, Jim Aparo, some others and Joe Staten, who do um, horror books. Would have been great to see stuff in there from Charlton. Another issue, back issue right here. This is the 80 graphic novels, which not really in my wheelhouse. I read all the 80s. I mean, I grew up on that stuff, so it's old hat, but it's still great to read some back stuff on those things. Cryptology 1, I have number 2, which I'll show in a little bit, and this is highly recommended, especially issue 2. Issue 2, I'll show you that in a second. It's good stuff. But Cryptology just goes over the horror and pop culture from comics, TVs, movies, just stuff that we all grew up with and love and enjoy. It's called Cryptology, again, from Tomorrow's, which, in my opinion, they do no wrong. I picked this up. This is a file copy or a proof copy, I'm sorry, signed by Greg Theekson. Right here, it says proof right there at the top of that, but it is full of stuff that I've not seen from Jack Kirby. Text, history, just phenomenal stuff. I haven't seen this. I got a lot of books on Jack. Again, you know, I'm not the expert. I'm not saying anywhere near that I've seen this before, but there's stuff that I haven't seen, and I think it's phenomenal to have this early stuff. Lightning and the Lone Rider, of course, Red Raven, which is a very scarce book. The Complete Jack Kirby, Volume 1, 1917 and 1940. The Red Raven cover in black and white is just gorgeous. Rawhide Kid stuff. There's no doubting it. He is the king. He's the man. Good old Jack. Again, I don't know what I haven't seen or what I haven't shown. I'm kind of all over the place here. Oh, tonight, Graphic Man is having a show tonight, I think at 8 o'clock. He advertised it on Instagram. I'm saying it here. Folks who watch me, I know, like Graphic Man and what he brings to the table. I think Eric Breen, and who else do I remember saying? Captain Strangelove, which, Captain, if you're watching the video, I hope you're doing well, buddy. Hope your wife is better. Hope things are looking up for you for this new year. Yeah, so he's got a show tonight, so don't forget to tune into that. I picked up Tomb of Darkness 21. Found that at a pretty decent price. These are getting pricey, and I don't know, man. I mean, I remember getting those, a lot of my collection with those reprints with the great new covers were like 50 cents, 75 cents back in the late 70s. They weren't very expensive at all as a back issue into the 80s. Then all of a sudden, I don't know, the speculators come in, or everyone's coming in, everything horror, because the pre-code horror is out, you know, it's to the point you can't afford pre-code horror, so now people are going to the reprints and they're charging high for the reprints. Look at the DC Bronze Age horror, 20, 30 bucks a pop. Come on, folks. I know it's what the market dictates. I understand all that, but if we all come together and say, you know what, we're not doing this, we're not playing this game. I know everyone's out to make money. I get that. But if we all just come down and say, you know what, just because it's got a cover that everyone's, oh my God, the cover's great, but they can't tell you what's the inside because it's slabbed. Come on. But they're just so expensive now. And I was lucky to find that. And I got a couple more relatively inexpensive. I think they were under 10 bucks a piece. I did find this. The Day Brothers Present Horror. This is the first issue from Caliber. Never heard of this issue. This might have been during my Navy days, so I missed out on some of the independent. When did this come out? No, this is when I got out, 1990. I missed this. I've not read these yet, but it's black, pretty stark black and white stuff as Caliber has done, is known for. Well, I should say known for, but a lot of Caliber stuff is black and white. That's where I first learned of Jim Calafiore, was his Caliber, and I've got a bound volume that I did, all of his Caliber work. I got him bound thinking I had everything that he did from Caliber, and I missed something. So it's an incomplete volume that I got bound. Day Brothers presents Horror #2. A little take on the fly there. These I found in the dollar bin. I said it before, I'm a hypocrite. My hypocrisy will only go so far. I'm a hypocrite. I usually don't go into the dollar bin. However, we got a collection in at the shop. Everything was slated for the dollar bin, and I did see these, and I said, why not? Day Brothers presents Sci-Fi #3. Day Brothers presents Day Brothers. I'm talking too quick. Day Brothers presents Sci-Fi. I do like this cover. Kind of a kind of a Wally throwback. Kind of like a what am I trying to say? Homage to Wally with the bubble helmets and the cool looking spacesuits. So I've not read those yet. I've had them waiting to do videos, and I've been reading, like I said, other things, and I'm going to show you that in a minute. Those who follow me on Instagram know what I'm going to talk about here in a minute. Another one I found, Tomb of Darkness #23. Death is a Mountain. Pretty darn cool cover. I think it's Ron Wilson, if I'm not mistaken. And Ron Wilson is just national treasure. He's phenomenal. That's a great cover on that as well. I picked up Frontier Marshal #6. Beautiful copy. I think it's a Severin cover, if I'm not mistaken. But I like the guy. His one is sneaking up on him. It's kind of cool. And there's nails. He actually has nails in his mouth that the taxi used to put up the poster. Nice little detail. But I don't think the bag won. I don't think who's that dear. Dutch Nareeves is going to get the drop on our guy. Pretty cool book. Jesse James Gang, this is a reprint, I do believe. Bandit Chieftain of the Wild West. Pulp cover. I believe, I don't know. It looks like it's been used as a pulp cover. But it's still a cool book. Nice Avon. Add to the collection. One of the things I got through Kickstarter, is this phenomenal book. Russ Braun does the art in it. Kolchak, look at the red edges, which is very cool. It's got a bookmark, cloth bookmark, little bit of extra stuff in there. Kolchak fan membership card. Russ Braun does spot illustrations in this. And it's just phenomenal. I've read this, not this particular book. I've read my childhood copy of, if I can get it here, I pull it out just for this video. See how much I love you guys. The Night Stalker. There's a book before this one called the Kolchak Papers. If anyone has it, I would love to see a copy. If you're on Instagram or YouTube, you do videos, I would love to see the Kolchak paper book. the Kolchak Papers book. But I had this since I was, gosh, probably in 8th grade. Read it numerous times, and I'm going to look forward to reading this along with the illustrations and stuff. Makes it very cool. Kolchak to me was my favorite TV show of all time. I grew up with it. Had nightmares over it. The zombie one in particular. That's why I hate tight spaces. But yeah, Kolchak is the main character. Darren McGavin, of course, phenomenal role. The supporting cast were great. There was some good continuity, great continuity between some of the characters that he would meet later on in other episodes, and they would remember him being somebody else, as he would act like, pretend that he was like, I don't know, the gas man or something like that, or somebody that to get into some place, and they'd remember him and they'd bring it up. My favorite ones are the zombie, the nightly murders, which was great, the Trivia Collection, which is really good. Just a phenomenal TV show, and I wish it would have had last longer than it did. Unbeknownst to me, the one with the lizard and the what was it? I can't remember the name of that particular episode. Would be the last show, and that was sad. Oh, the Moss Murders was another favorite. Another book I picked up, thanks to Meyer Greenblatt, who posted on his Instagram this excellent book, which I was reading as well. Doris Danger, Giant Monsters Amok. You can tell what it's paying homage to. Winza is Chris Winsnia, I think I pronounced his last name. Did the book, but it's just, as you can tell, it's lovingly reproducing, or I shouldn't use the word reproduce because that's something he's taken from somebody else, but putting together Silver Age, beautiful storylines, artwork done by other artists, artwork, of course, mostly done by Chris. Riri. It's just, the stories are really cool, and it's just so fun. And Amazon, I'll try to get my store to order this to put it on the shelves, but it's not available. But Amazon has it, and it's like 60% off or something. So go out there, get yourself a copy, go on Instagram, give him a shout out, talk about how great this book is, because it really is. It's put out by Fantagraphics. I don't know why. I read it anyway, Stanley. So you kind of get the idea what this is about. It's just fun. Good stuff. Highly recommended. Oh, here's my cryptology too. I was telling everybody about Don Heck. I love Bronze and Modern Gods. They're a great channel, great guys. But John does not like Don Heck. John, you got to get this, buddy. It's phenomenal. It's his horrific stuff. A nice interview with Don Heck. Look at that cover. Oh, man. That's such good stuff. Don Heck, sorely missed, and he was really pivotal in the Silver Age. I mean, he drew back in the Golden Age and stuff, but the stuff that he tells suspense, he did the Iron Man cover, he designed the armor, and other things he did on the Avengers and other stuff. He just doesn't get the credit that he deserves. Don Heck's the man. Scary Monsters. What number is this one? Well, this is number 137, winter of 2024. Which is a great cover. This covers Gorgo's in this, which is great. Charlton did the Gorgo comic. But Scary Monsters, it's just, story after story of great stuff of monsters, horror, anything you can. If you're into monsters, you're into horror, this is stuff you can really sink your teeth into. Highly recommended this particular publication, as well as Monster Bash. This is the newest issue of Monster Bash, number 55. Peter Lorre, some other stuff in there. It's like Famous Monsters, but better written, I think. Um, it just covers all sorts of different stuff in this. And the person who puts out Monster Bash, the the editor, writer, and creator and publisher Ron Adams put out this phenomenal book called Flashback. This is it right here. This is what I read before I read anything else. This, if you were born the 50s, 60s, or 70s, you're going to love this book. It's a recollection as Ron Adams during his childhood of growing up with monsters, comics, movies, TV, anything pop culture related during he was born in 59. So anything in his childhood that he can remember with pictures and anecdotes and stories and things of his life during that time growing up with that and how much it meant to him is all in this book. And it's just a wonderful recollection of those times. Going to the barbershop, reading his first comic, trick-or-treating, horror comic books, school. There he is sorting out his comics, laying things out nice and easy, the way it should be. Life was just much different then. We didn't, you had a comic book, you took care of it, you put it in a box. You didn't worry about bags or boards. You didn't worry. All you worried about was the next issue, what was going to happen next, and you coveted that book to reread it and read it again until you could get that issue. But this is highly recommended. It's called Flashback, and like I said, I can't recommend that book enough. So he's the one who puts out Monster Bash. So it kind of goes hand in hand. If you like Monster Bash, you're going to love Flashback. If you already have Flashback and you read Flashback, you're going to love Monster Bash. Can't say enough. News back issue, Keith Giffen, which is good stuff. I haven't read this whole issue yet, but I can't remember if our buddy Wood God is in this one or not. I can't remember. It should be. If it isn't, I haven't read that issue yet, cover to cover. The new Alter Ego. So we're onward to an AOK that I got from Jess. He sent to me some cool comic books. Again, I lost steam. The umph of opening the box on my other video and missing out on the unboxing is now lost to the ages. However, I do have books still here. I have not rebagged them aboard. I have not rebagged and board them yet. I have not put them in my CLZ. I'll probably do that after I'm done here. Jess, kind soul. He picks people. Best way I can say it, because he'll just send people AOKs. And he knows what you like. He knows what your wheelhouse and what you're really into, and he tries to accommodate by these surprise AOKs. So like I said, I had already opened them up. I already did that with my first video. Did the second one. Did the third one. I just lost steam. I had to wait a few weeks before I can do another one. So hopefully this one turns out okay. In the AOK are these awesome cards he sent. And I didn't know that Ken Barr, who did comic book covers, magazine covers, movies and all sorts of stuff. I didn't know there was a card set. And Jess knows I'm a Doc Savage fan, So here are the card covers, the covers of the Doc Savage magazine that Ken Barr did, and those to me are some of the best Doc Savage adaptations of the character and his Fabulous Five. It's hit or miss with Doc Savage. I don't understand why anyone can't get Doc Savage done right. Um, they make him more of a superhero in the Marvel color comic, even though he is a superhero in those terms. It's more, how should I say, more subdued, more. It's the elements are there, but it's not like bum ba dum superhero type of thing. It wasn't like that. Um, that was some of the best comic book adaptation. I haven't read any Golden Age of Doc Savage. I would love to have some of them, along with the Shadow. Cause I did not know this until later on. I read an interview that Walter Gibson did write the Shadow comic. So I'm sure there's more elements of the Shadow's life or crime fighting skills and stories are more to the pulp because he's writing them than the Doc Savage stuff. Here's another one, another great card. Everyone knows these magazine covers. I say Doc Stevens. There's a quote. Um, let's see. Doc Savage enemies were as brilliant, interesting, and diverse as the enemies of Batman. Ken Barr. Also in the AOK was a arcade card. My man Gene Autry. Nice shot of Gene. This had to be from the mid to late 30s. Charlton, Rocky Lane, number 69. Nice from 1955. Good stuff. I'm just reading what he wrote on the back. Hot rods and racing cars. Jack Keller, I'm sure, did this cover. Jack Keller, known for his work at Charlton on the hot rod and racing cars. Comic books. He actually built models of real racing cars and hot rods and whatnot and used them as models to draw authentic cars in his stories. There's interviews with him and other publications, and I think even the Charlton Companion, where it shows him with the models he's building and actually worrying about how the wheels would turn on this certain car or how it would position itself, if it's three-quarter view or whatever. I'm not an artist, but he knew what he wanted, and that's why they're pretty cool comic books. I'd love to get a whole run of hot rods and racing cars. I started out, I've got issue 1, which I was very happy with that. Let's see what else we got here. You got some Phantom. Which is 334. Freaking hair on this big white dog, right? That's what he's doing on Instagram. What is this from? 1967. Oh, it's Australian. Okay. It's the Gene Autry souvenir program from one of his Western shows, probably late 50s. Gail Davis and Yoki on the back. Battle Heroes Giant Action Issue. Who did this book? Stanley Publications. It says it on the back. 1966, Volume 1, Number 2. Looney Tune action here. Merry Melodies. 1950. This is 101. Basil, the Royal Cat. Or Basil, however you want to say it. I think it's Basil. I think I messed up. War Heroes from Ace. It's funny. I look at these books and I wonder, you know, here's Zoo Funnies. I have the number one, the original one of this. This is a tough book. Not that anyone cares, because no one cares about Charlton. That I get laughed at, but hey, I love them. This is like they're turning off the lights. This is from 1984, 75-cent issue. I've got the original one. It's one from 54, I think, but I have the original Zoo Funnies here. This is number one, 1984. They were turning out the lights at this point. I mean, they were packing stuff up. The presses were just running us enough to put out a few handful of books. Some of the comic readers that came out during this time, they would have like one or two books that were coming out. It was done at that point, unfortunately. I mean, it's weird to think that, you know, the company that started out in the 40s would just close its doors. And I mean, a lot of comic companies did that, but not the longevity of Charlton. I don't think there is a company with the longevity of Charlton that just closed up shop. I mean, there are some comic book companies that last 10, 20 years that closed up shop, but I think it'd be hard pressed to find one with the longevity of Charlton. It's, you know, we collect our comics, we like what we like, and I understand that. But it's getting to a point where people are putting their own stamp on what's important, or put it out there as if it's the all in and beat all of something. What I'm trying to say is that we have influencers. We know this. To a point of saying, you know, if I had 10,000 followers and, you know, and I turned around and I said that said, oh, this comic book is what you need to do, da da da. I'm sure everyone will be looking for Zoo Funnies and trying to shoot the price up. I guess what I'm trying to get to is these summits that are like these elite collectors, the way I can say it, that pay 50, 60 bucks to get into these, and there's only a handful of people, and it's these high-end books that they only will put a price on. That's my take on it. I could be wrong. I just like cons. You pay $5, you get in, you buy a bunch of funny books, you go home, have a good time, read them, and everything else. But it's just these summits, they bug me, to say the least. I just don't. I just think it's just a weird term. It's like the fact, oh, we can't do conventions. Oh no, we can't be amongst the commoners. We have to have a summit that only a handful of people can get into. That's what it's like to me, and it really bugs me. But anyway, this is a good series of books if you can find them. And I'm glad I'm missing a handful of them, and Jess happened to send them to me. Pulp Action, they reprint the shadow strips. There's 2 issues in this one, obviously. I have this one already, unfortunately, but it's cool to have another copy in case someone wants it and I know I can send it to them. This Pulp Action is awesome. I was reading this one a while back. It's just strips. I think Walter Gibson did write these, if I'm not mistaken. The art is so good. There's also Pete Morisi. It looks like a Pete Morisi from a Charlton of all places. Yeah, speak of, I don't know if you speak of the devil, but speak of the comic company Charlton. There is a Pete Morisi story. It's Mr. Bones up there at the top. So we got a little bit extra storyline in that. That's awesome. Pulp action. More shadow. Goodness. These are great to read when you got the old radio shows playing. A nice Charlton here. I'm lacking in my romance. You know, you got a few bucks to spend. Romance are on my least, on the last part of my want list. My least favorite, I should say, to pick up. But they're still good. It's just you gotta prioritize. Teen Confessions number 77. The Phantom, 28 from Kane. Fighting Army, 128. I was going through the warehouse at the shop and come across a whole long box of unbagged and boarded Charlton War books. I put a little W on the long box, so when we go get to it, I can let the boss know I want this box. Let's see if I can get it. Mighty Atom, IW reprint. Sergeant Army. Army Award, Sergeant Rock, number 176. Kit Carter, Half Cart Will Travel. Never heard of this book before. I've seen it, but I've never actually read a copy of this before. Don't know what it's about. Another nice Charlton. For Lovers, 19. What is this from? This is number 76. I don't know what year this is from. This is 25-cent issue, so mid-70s. A little bit of pulp action here. Rangeland Romances. Famous Funnies for 157. Meeting Ghosts with Dr. Graves. One of my favorite. This is a Ditko cover. I'm 99.9% sure. Such a great cover. I'd love to see the original artwork. I've never seen an original artwork page cover from Charlton ever. And you got some Rangeland Romances. More pulp action. This is February, doesn't say. And I'm a big fan of the Wild West and the history. He says this so long. I always says it's a history book. You know, this is what I'm really wanting to sit down and get into. The frontier in America, the frontier in American history. How it pertains to the formation of our country out west, the significance of the frontier, all that kind of good stuff is in this book. So I'm really looking forward to reading this. A Titan book, some Judge Dredd stuff in here, 2000 AD stories in this. The Singing Cowboys, which is awesome. I've been this is one of those books that you can find it very, very cheap or very expensive. I don't know why. The value varies widely on this book. To get it from Jess is just so awesome. But it covers all the singing cowboys, the history. Of course, you know, Gene's going to be in here a lot. Roy. Where's my man Gene? My man Tex Ritter. He has such a great voice. Great singing for cowboys, Western movies. There's Gene Autry, my man. So this is a very, very cool book to have. Texas at the movies. Anything pertaining to Texas is going to have the movie poster in here, which is very cool. So you got Tim McCoy, John Wayne, Tim Holt, Tex Ritter, Bob Steele. Look at that movie poster, man. That Bob Steele. Awesome. The Lone Ranger price guide over values and things of the Lone Ranger collectible, what they cost, and the history of the Lone Ranger as far as on pop culture. I did not find it in this, but I got a little time here, so I'll tell you a story. There is, growing up in Indiana, there was, well, part of my life in Indiana, that's where I was born, and there was out in rural Noblesville, there was a farmer, a chicken farmer, that would have morning, noon, or night honor system, go get your eggs. So after my parents would visit my grandparents, they would stop at the chicken coop, and I would always want to go in there with them because it would be late at night, I would be sleepy, but I would not care because I wanted to see the Lone Ranger and Tonto. What I mean was, and I did not find it in this price guide, but they exist. You can find it online. And I think George Wilson did the paintings on these life-size posters of Tonto and the Lone Ranger. The farmer, it was a little Quonset-type hut where you go get your chicken eggs, where you get your eggs, you pay for it. And on each side of the chicken coop was a life size of Tonto, and Lone Ranger was on the side. Lone Ranger's pointing to 6 guns. Tonto's didn't look ready for action, but they're life size, and they're in a very small area, but they're on each side of the Quonset hut. I call it a Quonset hut because it was shaped like that. But they're there to protect or to guard over, to make sure you did the right thing. And I always wanted to go in there just to see that, just to see how cool the Lone Ranger, and Tonto was in that chicken coop. But it was always cool seeing that. And apparently, my uncle says he's got a lead on the owners of. They still have those posters, and he's trying to see if we can snag them at some point for a price. But again, it's got paintings and posters and stuff of the Lone Ranger. Everybody loves the Lone Ranger. They're like, it's like, you know, you hear the William Tell overture, you know it's the Lone Ranger. But I did not see in here the posters, but they're online. I've seen them for sale, but I'd love to have the ones from that chicken coop from my childhood, and that would just be phenomenal. That'd be really, really cool. And last but not least, I'm going to show my omnibus. Not a fan of buses, omnibuy. I've got one, the Silver Age Doom Patrol, which is not as thick as this. I did not know it would be this thick when I got it. I got it because it was a phenomenal run. It's the Aquaman, the Peter David run. Look at this thing. They used my man Jim Calafiore on the cover. This is from Aquaman 44. But this has the whole 5-year run. I didn't realize it lasted for 5 years. Jim Calafiore did a lot of the artwork. Well, not a lot. It was they switched like between Jim Calafiore, Marty England, had Howard Shum, and the inking between Mark McKenna, which pisses us all off who are fans of this. That Mark was not mentioned on the cover. Should have, because he's inking the cover. It's Jim and Mark who did the cover right there. I've been piecemealing this. It's a tough read because it's so big, but I had to support it. Um, love that run. 90s was a crazy time for comics. We all know this. We all know. We laugh and joke, but there are highlights from the 90s. Aquaman was one. For me, Aquaman, The Spectre, Martian Manhunter, James Robinson's Starman. You had Sandman Mystery Theater, uh, the JSA, the every little JSA series that came out was phenomenal. Anything that Jeff Johns wrote was just a must read. So those are some great 90s stuff that people seem to know. They laugh at the 90s. Um, they don't they don't think about those titles, but this Aquaman run was was very, very good. Of course, I'm a Calafiore fan and McKenna fan. They made those books and stories pop for me. So, well, looks like I made it under an hour. I had a lot. Oh, another two things that just sent to me: Luke Short, Ramrod, and Steve Frazee. Lawman's Feud. I've not read these yet, but they are on the shelf to read behind me. So, hope everyone takes care and everything's. Those who are in the frigid temperatures like I am. What's the temperature? I think it's like 8 outside right now. Hope everyone's staying warm and everyone take care. Thanks for watching. Thanks for subscribing. If you are watching this and you found it boring, my apologies. But during this time together, you can bag of board comics and listen to me ramble. And I showed some cool books. It gives you an idea of there's some good stuff out there other than keys. You guys take care. And again, thank you for subscribing, viewing, all that kind of good stuff. And again, Graphic Man's on tonight. I think 8 o'clock. Him and Eric Breen, and I don't know if Jambo's with me on there or not, but I know Captain Strange Life. Again, Captain, I hope everything's well. Take care, Hans. I hope your wife's doing well, and hope there's good news. Take care, y'all.